Hello fellow movie lovers, today is another review. I haven't been doing too many reviews this month on account of the fact I am very busy focused on my Are You a Movie Oracle. So once March is over and I go back to a more regular schedule like I had before, I can start focusing on watching more new TV shows and new movies and doing reviews such as that. But I did manage to sneak in at least one new movie because I've wanted to watch this, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I felt it was important to really make sure I get up a review of this as soon as possible because I haven't heard anybody else talking about it, and I really think people at least especially people who like the genre, I feel like they should be made aware of this film because I think it's really good, but that's just my opinion. So let's just get on with today's review. Extracurricular Activities is a 2019 American comedy thriller directed by Jay Lowy and written by Bob Saynas. In it, a mature, intelligent high school student has a side job arranging accidental deaths of fellow students' parents. A cop detective notices this student is connected to all the kids of dead parents, but who wins the face-off? Much like Isn't This Romantic, this was another film I knew nothing about going in. The title and poster reminded me of 2017's Tragedy Girl, so I thought perhaps it would be about a male high school student going around killing his fellow students. I enjoyed Tragedy Girl, so I was very open to giving this a chance just based on my assumption. This was not at all what I assumed, but I loved what I got. Instantly we see characters dying, but it doesn't look like a homicide, so it immediately had me intrigued, asking, how is he doing this and why? As the film goes on, you begin to understand what's going on and who is behind it, and the characters' motivations are quite interesting. Colin Ford plays our serial killer Reagan Collins, and I must say I found his performance to be quite multifaceted and a tad alluring. Reagan stands out from other serial killers in cinema. He's not psychotic or sadistic, he doesn't come from an abusive home or is dealing with some trauma. He's not even someone who takes any pleasure out of his kills, and to a degree never has to get his hands dirty, which overall makes him fascinating to me. Reagan is a top-marked student. He is polite, well-mannered, has a great relationship with his parents, and all the teachers love him for his wonderful can-do attitude and wholesome values. Reagan has ambitions to make the world a better place, but in his mind this means making the world a better place by murdering his fellow students' parents upon request and for a profit. After all, if you're good at something, why not get paid? Reagan has rules. He will only kill if you can provide sufficient evidence that your parents fit the criteria of deadbeat parents who are causing mental, emotional, or physical harm to their children and those around them. If he feels you have provided the evidence he needs, he gets to work on his public service. Reagan's kills are well planned and proving him to be an incredibly methodical person, which is quite impressive. No kills are the same, they all appear as accidents and are tailored to the victims in question. It's fascinating watching him plan out these kills and being so precise, all to the point where he's like reverse Columbo. Columbo is a character from an old crime series about a detective who solves crimes. The unique thing about this character is that at the start of the investigation he always knows who did it, he just has to prove it and how. In Reagan's case, and why I say reverse Columbo, he gives his employers an envelope and instructs them not to open it until the deed is done. The envelope contains paper with a date, location, and method for the kills. Those who order his services are incredibly impressed at how accurately he can pull this off, as he never fails to meet his deadline and never wavers from his method. What I love about this movie is that as intelligent as it is, there is humor to the film, but not in-your-face comedy. It's all very subtle, making it more appealing and in keeping with the film. This film has no violence or gore involved in it whatsoever, which also makes it unique. Reagan never has to be present for the deaths or even execute them himself. He puts things in motion and lets the universe do the rest. It's incredibly refreshing and reinforces all I've been saying about films that think to make an impression you have to throw a lot of blood and guts at the screen, which tends to have the reverse effect. It's unimaginative, it's repetitive, and serves little purpose. It doesn't even have much shock value anymore, but to have a film that has an absence of all those things and is still effective is probably more shocking and also far more appealing as a viewer. This film has the traditional cat and mouse dynamic between killer and cop, but it's not at all how you would expect. Timothy Simons does a great job as disgraced cop Cliff Dawkins. He's not winning any awards for Father or Husband of the Year, and he is slowly driving himself off the cliff in an attempt to prove Reagan to be a killer. Reagan's calm and respectful demeanor continues to piss off Dawkins and drive him crazy, even more so because it's all quite genuine. He's calm and confident in his abilities and his rapport with the adults of the community, so he has little to worry about, but Dawkins will stop at nothing to get his man and save his reputation, even at the risk of his sanity. This film has not one but two surprise twists at the end, and as someone who can see a twist coming a mile away, I am incredibly impressed that I didn't see either of these coming, and I loved them both. The reveals were so unexpected and made the entire film even more impressive than it already was. It takes Reagan's cunning and intelligence to an all new level and gives you a whole new perspective on the film, and then to provide you with another reveal after this, which is not very common to do more than one, but it again was good and gave even more layers to the previous events in the film. All in all, I love this film. It was unique and it stands out from other films of the genre, especially in this day and age. It had me interested from start to finish, and I felt that the style in which the film was shot, which for other films might feel low quality or low budget, I think worked perfectly for this film. It almost gave it this Pleasantville tone at times, which juxtaposed with people being killed in every scene, somehow made it more entertaining. Would highly recommend people giving this a watch, and I would definitely watch this again. What can I say? I loved it and I couldn't find any faults with it. Unless I end up with a really extensive top 10 list this year, which I don't think is likely to happen, this film definitely has a place on my list of top 10 films for 2019. I absolutely love this. I wasn't expecting it to. It's one thing that I'm kind of experiencing a lot more of lately, which is films that aren't very popular or strongly advertised. All the films that kind of go under the radar because they're not big budget or big studio films are kind of the ones I'm enjoying a lot more of lately. I'm finding them to be a lot more original. I find them quite refreshing. Some of them, you know, I've watched that are a bit more low budget. Naturally, you're going to come up with some stinkers, but that happens with blockbusters too. I just find it interesting that it's the more of the films that just people aren't really talking about that I'm finding to be so entertaining. So I've got a few of those on my list to watch soon, so I guess I'll be getting through some of those in April, and based on the fact I've written down a list and I have to go very specifically to the list, I probably won't get to a few of them for a couple of months, but I'm interested to see how some of them turn out. Hopefully they're going to be as good as this. They might not be, but it would be really interesting if pretty much majority of my top 10 for 2019 were, you know, nothing that was publicly released in cinemas, at least not in my country. I would find that quite interesting. So remember, if you have seen this movie, comment down below, tell me what you thought of it. Or if you have not heard of it and now I'm the first person to tell it to you, do you think you'd be interested in seeing this film? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you. So until next time, bye.